actually arise out of Zoroastrian and Vedic philosophy, and so eventually I realized that there was like a reversal of space time in terms of philosophy, so that you have these spiritual masters in India, but they didn't have to demonstrate any kind of abilities at all. They didn't have to have any kind of skills or healing energy or anything. And those were called the Yanas, and it was said that only other Yanas could know if they're Yanas. And this was also part of the Vedic caste system. And so obviously you can see how such a group of individuals can be corrupted, or it could become a scam essentially. And so logically they're relying on left brain logic as the goal of the meditation, and you logically listen to the source of that thought, and eventually, like Ramana Maharshi, he had to practice for 9 years non-stop, and he refused to see his own mother. And then finally he experienced his heart stop for 15 minutes. And during that experience, he had no sensation, no thoughts or any kind of perceptions. And then he felt a strong shock on the left side of his head. And then all of a sudden the light came back to him. The light was his ego. But after that experience, the light would permanently return back to this source of light, which he called like an ether that can't be seen, but it powers the light. And so, like I said, this is like a real space-time vortex, this energy. And so in science we're told that quantum non-locality, it can't be scaled up because it's limited to very short time periods. But in quantum biology we're learning that there can be a resonance to maintain quantum coherence. And there's experiments called the Quantum Zeno Effect. And so what they're doing is they're preventing the collapse of the wave function as if no external measurement has been taken. And it's done by using light that's the light is used as the measuring as like a strobe light. So if you can keep maintaining a steady pulse of light, and then do that in microseconds, then you can maintain without it ever collapsing. And so in it's said that consciousness is actually a pulsation, that it's discrete and not a continuous or a geometric continuum. Whereas in the West, we assume a spatial continuum that we then break up into discrete measurements. And this is called the measurement problem in quantum physics. And even Sir Roger Penrose says with quantum physics it cannot be complete because of the measurement problem. And he says it must be gravity itself that collapses the wave function. Well, mathematically, gravity is, it's the inverse square law, which Newton originally got from studying Pythagorean, or what he thought was Pythagorean math. It's actually from Archytas, from the music theory. In other words, if we really study music theory, then we realize that the source of time itself has a spatial measurement. It can be both the future and the past overlapping. And since light has a zero rest mass, then it also has a hidden what they call heaviness, or gravitational mass, or relativistic mass. And this is also called a supermomentum in quantum physics. In other words, it's literally a reverse time energy. And so if you can entangle light, they study it as a weak, what they call weak measurements. And so you can maintain, just like the Quantum Zeno Effect, you can prevent the collapse of the wave function. There isn't even any need to use a wave function. You're just using the future and the past overlapping through entangled light. And so light actually has a secret 1/2 spin, but because it has zero mass, it can be scaled up. And so they use this with the noncommutative mathematics. So like the quantum mechanics professor I studied from, he uses a geometric model of a donut. So when you flip the donut, you're in the hole of the donut.